If this is supposed to make us feel better about trusting you, it isn't, Nicobar said. How do we know you aren't just sticking around hoping to get a better deal? How do I know you won't sell out, I countered, or that Terra won't, or any of the others? Answer, I don't. If there were better odds to be had anywhere else, I'd grab them, but there aren't. Not here, not now. So why should you care what happens to the Icarus, Nicobar persisted, or to any of the rest of us? I looked him straight in the eye. Because I took a contract to fly this ship to Earth, and that's what I intend to do.
The Icarus Hunt by Timothy Zahn. Sci-fi is not a genre in the same sense that mystery, heist, and romance are genres. Genres have plot conventions. They have expectations that are either satisfied or subverted. Sci-fi is a setting, or suppose a group of settings. Let me be clear. Icarus Hunt is a mystery that happens to take place in a sci-fi setting. It's a stereotypical mystery. There is a scene where the protagonist places his gun on the table and states, "There is a murderer seated among us," and then proceeds to reason through motives and strange circumstances leading up to this moment where he's deduced, what actually happened. It's super cliched, and I fucking love it. Because it's perfectly executed cliche. It doesn't subvert anything. But the opposite of subverting expectations is satisfying expectations, which we must not forget is a good thing. Clichés exist for a reason, because they are popular. The author, Timothy Zahn, is best known for the Star Wars Expanded Universe novels in which he introduces us to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Those books shaped a generation of bookish Star Wars fans and planted the idea of writing in a lot of impressionable minds, mine included. So, Timothy Zahn, I salute you, I thank you. I am a writer, due in no small part to your existence and to the books that you wrote. That compliment comes right before some criticism. I meant that compliment full-heartedly, but I went back and tried to read the Thrawn books as an adult, and I really couldn't get into them. I found them a little just dry and boring. But I picked up the Icarus Hunt for $1, little price tag there is still on it, at a library book sale, thinking, I better give this author another chance. Let's see what he can do with a universe of his own invention, rather than the Star Wars universe. And I had a blast. The Icarus Hunt is fast, fun, action sci-fi mystery. What's not to like? Well, there's some clunky dialogue in which characters sort of explain the knowns and unknowns back and forth to each other, but I think that's pretty typical of the mystery genre. Basically, if you don't like detective noir tropes, then you're not going to like them any better because they're set in outer space. But some of us like them better exactly for that reason. Another thing I could complain about is all the stupid sci-fi names, which are way stupider than the John Scalzi sci-fi names, which I mocked in an earlier video. There is the minor excuse, I suppose, that these names are mostly alien species, which presumably would have vastly different, pronunciations and vocal structures compared to humans. But they're still just goofy, in my opinion. Another thing I'll say that is pretty weak is the representation. There are more aliens than women in these books. It's not otherwise problematic, but it's kind of glaringly missing. It's a pretty macho universe, and the main character is a pretty macho caricature within it. Again, it's detective noir, so you're getting what you're getting with that. I initially made a note that the main character's actions didn't always align with his motivations in a couple places, but the twisty ending explains everything, and I realized that the actions and motivations did make sense once the truth was revealed. Timmy Zans, you got me! So if detective noir mystery sci-fi adventure sounds like your cup of tea, maybe you enjoyed some of the Star Wars Expanded Universe novels about Grand Admiral Thrawn, you should pick this up. It's a joy. It's not that long. It's just a nice, fun read.
There's lots of sniffing around for clues, which I liked. I never been to a spaceport before, but I bet there's some interesting pee in the corners, especially in these filthy spaceports that these dirty criminals are hanging out in. Also, there's a big festival at the end, and I bet it has all kinds of delicious stinks. I didn't like the rainstorm in the middle of the book. Rain is cold, and it comes with scary thunder. 4 belly rubs out of 5.
Other way. Other way.
Good girl. I can see why people don't make more pet movies, Ashaya. This is difficult.